the boy or girl is playing games. He's sending text messages. So you can see that the harm is causing to our kids today is more than the good that we want out of it. When I was in the secondary school, and today my kids are in school, I make sure when I take them to school, I have the headmaster's number, I have the house mistress and the housemaster's number. If there is anything to check on, I call the masters and find out how the kids are doing. One of my girls is not too well, so most of the time when she's in school, I give them all the time I monitor to find out how she is. I even tell them anytime she's not well and she's sent to the hospital, just give me a call so I can check on her. So that is what I think we should do. When we were in school, we had landlines. So your parents could easily call the school, find out how you are doing and all that. So if we think that it's their safety that we are looking for and we are giving them the mobile phones, then I'm sorry, it's creating something else for us.
Is it all an issue of modernity and parents neglecting their responsibility as parents in doing what is right and therefore are giving mobile phones to their children to be their companion? That's an issue we'll take a look at when we come back. This is The Standpoint. The program is brought to you by Ketsi, Grafton Mineral Water, Sultana Rice, and supported by the African Region Hotel. And my beats are by Ketsi Lepifania. We'll be back. Let me read some of the text messages that she's received on her phone. And it's for you, parent, to determine whether you still think that if such a message goes to your daughter, especially your daughter, who is even 13 years old, which somebody will say it's in her teens, if it's safe. Now let me read. How to satisfy a woman. Caress, excite, cuddle, fascinate, spoil, kiss, rub, tease, pamper, console, worship, respect, and love. How to satisfy a man. Blow job. And then it goes on text to something, I think for more of such messages to be given to you. Now, before we went for the break, I was asking if it's a matter of parents now neglecting their responsibility. Modernity, yes, every parent will have to work. It's a necessity. But we don't have time for the kids. So you give her a mobile phone, if anything, she can or he can get in contact with it. I'm so worried, maybe I'm showing a bias here, about the young girls, because they are the ones who, when it comes to the West, they suffer.
Our parents didn't start working today. Our mothers didn't start working today. Some of us grew up in homes where our mothers were working. There are other kinds of things that you can give to your children to keep them occupied, other than giving them mobile phones and giving them a leeway to communicate or to get in touch with the outside world that you cannot keep a tag on. If you give your children games to play with, then you should know that who they're playing the games with. And sometimes you'd wonder if right now, apart from the mobile phones, a lot of people are talking about internet at home. And when you're not there, you have no idea what your child is using the internet at home for. Right. And it's the same thing with the mobile phone. And we have neglected the education aspect, and therefore we are not encouraging them to go to the libraries to read like we used to do. We are not encouraging them maybe to mix with their friends and have study groups at home so that if your child is not at home, they've gone here to study, or they've gone swimming, or they've gone to learn to play the piano, some activity that would keep them educated and keep them occupied. If you talk about neglect of parents, I don't think it's a matter of neglect, because definitely you come from school before your parents come from work. Yeah. Within that time, what happens? There are other kind of curricular activities that we can encourage children to get engaged in. We've lost all the debate clubs and drama clubs that used to be in the past. So why don't we go back to that? Why don't we, as parents, sometimes encourage schools? It's not always about extra classes. Let the schools have extracurricular activities on a regular basis. Let's see schools compete more. And then you'd realize that your children will be occupied and probably won't have time for mobile phones. And then you'd also be able to keep a tab on where the child is at any given time.
Yeah. Another of the text messages Auntie Susie received are, what is sex? In fact, what is sex like? There is hot sex, fast sex, group sex, safe sex, self-sex, telephone sex, and for people with your face, no sex. Talking about the types of sex that we seem to have, that this text message is talking about. Some of the young people I interacted with told me about phone sex. That, children, they always tell you their friends engage in phone sex. And sometimes when they come to school, they will show you, the text messages that their boyfriends or somebody sent to them. So as parents go to bed thinking that their children are asleep with their mobile phones, they are engaging in phone sex, especially in this era of free night calls. Clara.
Thank you, Gifty. I think it's even going to get worse if you don't check it. Whether, incoming of what we call the third generation mobile phones, that the 3G. Because here again, then it will not just be voice. You could actually see the person naked from one end, and he or she can also see you. So we better stop this thing now. And the whole idea of trying to be in control of your child, that is why you gave the mobile phone, is a wrong excuse. In the sense that the child gets connected to people that you have no idea who they are. And the child, him or herself, doesn't know either. You see, when we're growing up, our parents knew almost all the parents of our friends.
Yeah.
If you are not here, they know you are there. And, we will have book clubs together, play games together, and all that. That was how they kept check on us. Right now, we are using the mobile phone. And we are rather selling them, if I should, and pushing them away. We don't seem to know our kids anymore. It promotes individualism. And you see, all the ad and the gadgets and everything about it, cool ringing tones, screensavers, web applications and everything, is supposed to target the youth.
Then their ringtones,
Exactly.
the songs, and the games on their phones.
Exactly. The whole idea is to target that group of people. And what is more dangerous is, it's just like leaving a child alone. You understand? In the wildest dream of your life, you don't know what you are exposing your child to. And so I think that parents must start being parents. In fact, if you are not ready, then don't have children. Because if you think you are going to give a gadget to your child, to use it to groom your child, I bet you are killing that child.
And these mobile phones,
Can I just chip in something here? Sometimes some parents steal their kids' phones and try to read the text messages. But you see, they have linguistics and manual dexterities in the composition of these messages. You will not understand. They have so many ways of hiding things from us. And like I said earlier on, this is an evolution where the kids are the ones who are in control. So in fact, as a parent, you cannot teach your child to be in class 6 if you are in class 4. Don't allow your child to go further than you in trying to bring him or her up until at a level where you think the child is safe enough, which is, I believe, the child must even prove himself or herself. If your child is 20 and you think she or he is behaving like a 13-year-old, don't give him or her a phone. It's as simple as that. Because some of them, Gifty, you'll be amazed, are teenagers but are quite responsible.
Yeah.
Don't let's rule those ones out because they are juniors in our society.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Gifty, to add to what Clara said, stealing mobile phones and reading their messages. Most of them, as she said again, are geniuses. They are smart.
It's very smart.
When they know that what is on the phone is not good, they read and they delete. They make phone calls and they delete. So you can take the phone. They would have made 10 phone calls in that day, received 25 messages that same day, but you would not find anything. Because they read, they finish, they call, they text, and they delete it. So you would not even know. So what's left to parents is we should take up our responsibilities as parents. We should spend time with our children.
Get to know them.
Our traditions and our way of upbringing sometimes are negative. Now that we are coming out of this old issues and getting into a global world, I think we have to sit our kids down, educate them, tell them what is sex. Let them know who they are. Let them know if they are girls. Let them know they are beautiful. Let them know they are handsome as boys. Let them be assertive. Let them realize who they are. So that when they go out and even anybody decides to try to get them involved in these things, they would know how to go about it.
Yeah.
And apart from that, sometimes it's not even the parents who give the phones.
Yeah, some of the children can have mobile phones without their parents knowing about it.
Even
You know
apart
that?
from them saving their own money to buy it, the girls, most of the time it's the young men, the old men, their fathers, their uncles, their boyfriends and whoever who give them the phones. And it is not right, you see. So when you train your child the way he should go, the way she should go, I believe that when the person gets out of home and anybody is trying to contaminate him or her with this kind of things, you would know how to handle it. But if we don't take up our responsibilities as parents, we want maids, we want houseboys, we want house helps to keep our homes and keep our children for us, then I'm afraid these mobile phones will get to us.
You know, Les, you have daughters, and this whole thing about demystifying sex to our children, getting close to the children, talking to them about as Auntie Susie said, who they are, making them feel confident. Because sometimes these children are pushed to do some of the things, peer pressure, we all know it's there. Even as adults, sometimes you can fall victim to peer pressure. But parents don't bond with their children. Therefore, they go out there, they see it, and they want to be a part of it. And you see your child who you see at home, well brought up nicely, but later on, you find out the things that he or she gets involved in, and you feel like committing suicide,
Yes, Gifty, and isn't education expensive? Only we look at the expensive part with regards paying school fees and forget that we also need to do a lot more educating. And I think that it has even been made easier for parents today, because if the children go to school and are engaged in biology lessons and things like